Hey guys, welcome back to the Betar Project. I'm your host, Nick Betar. Today we got Tashi with us. Thank you for coming up, making the trip out here.
Yeah, easy. A little Zoom in the morning.
Before we start, I guess, your story, I just want to thank you for at least coming out here, and it takes a bit of courage to come out and talk about it. Is this your first podcast?
Yeah, I think I did one, but not related to anything really important years ago. So.
And is this your first time actually talking deeply about all this stuff?
Yeah, like Instagram doesn't really count. I get the questions, but I don't know, it's sort of, you got to kind of filter it out on Instagram a little bit. As much as I don't like filtering things out, you kind of have to. So, yeah, this is my first time, like, laying my soul out. So, we'll see.
And how do you feel?
Yeah, right.
Nervous?
I was a little bit nervous. I was sort of like, just, I don't know. Kind of cool, calm, collected, but also freaking out at the same time. So
don't worry. It happens to us all. I still get nervous before every episode.
Yeah. Well, let's see where this goes.
So I guess we'll go back to the beginning. What was your upbringing like? Because I know your story starts very young, and we'll dive into, I guess, mental health in children and that. But let's talk about your upbringing. Where did you grow up? And
I grew up in Sydney with my parents. Just normal. I had a really normal, good upbringing, but I was not okay in that upbringing. Yeah. I was not okay in these good situations, which really, I think, was part of the guilt that I felt throughout my whole childhood. Went to school, kept leaving schools because I was really unhappy. Ended up dropping out of school, moving out to Newtown because that was where all the cool kids went. And then after that, I guess I'll kind of go into when shit got bad, because that's what we're here for.
Let's dive straight fucking in.
Let's fucking go. Right, I was 5 and having severe panic attacks, extreme anxiety. I used to always say I feel sick, because when you're a kid and you have anxiety, you don't know what anxiety is. You're just like, I feel sick, help me. So I stopped eating. I'd only eat certain things. So I was extremely underweight, pale. I looked like Wednesday Addams. I had the braids. I was full on like this. It was quite funny. It was a thing. But and I just remember having these panic attacks and just literally I couldn't feel anything, and I'd be clawing at my own skin as a 5-year-old. My poor parents would be like, oh my God, she's like the Exorcist. Literally that is what happened. And so my earliest memories are actually not school, not fun things like that, is being in hospital, dark hospital rooms, and being so scared. Doctors saying to me, if you don't eat, we'll feed you through your nose. When you tell a kid that, they think they're going to literally shove food up your nose. They meant tube feeding, but as a kid, you don't know what you're doing. They wouldn't let me see my parents because it was maybe if we punish her, she'll eat. Not the case. not at all. And then so that happened for years, on and off. It was, I was pretty unhealthy and very and then I kind of got to about 14, 15 and was still manically depressed. Kind of psychotic sometimes, and I would start to binge eat because I was just mad, and that turned into self-harming. I dropped out of school, and then I think I got to about 15 years old, and I just swung the opposite way, because I was I actually just want to die, and the only thing that I remember being able to control these feelings was not eating. So there went the food. And I dropped so much weight, ended up in psychiatric facilities, hospitals. That was my teenage years. Yes, there was the getting wasted in the park, but it was not fun for me. It wasn't oh my God, we're being rebellious. It was more, fuck this, I need to numb myself. And I'd even pretend that I wasn't really drinking, but I was downing it to numb myself, slashing at myself. And then it ended up hospital systems, getting fucked over by the system, getting thrown out of the system, getting given up. I got to 18, the worst point ever, and I was at a weight where it was unlivable. On paper, I was actually dead. Physically, I was dead. Mentally, I'd checked out as well, and I ended up in public hospital, tube fed, no hope, wanted to die, came very close. Very, very fucking close. And after that, it was slowly up. When I say slowly up, I mean that. I had my drops, got into the whole abuse, substance abuse, self-harming again. I don't remember a lot of it because that was the point.
Yeah.
Numb it out. when I got a bit better, I learned to use my arms again by painting my own face and doing makeup.
Yeah, I've seen that on Instagram.
Yeah, it was, I think back to it, I'm like, I was actually so fucked. Like, when you're in the moment, you're like, I'm fine. But, oh my God, I wasn't. That's what this year's been about. I was like, oh, wow, that was not cool. Wouldn't leave my house. I moved out. Yeah, I kind of said it before. But, yeah, I moved out and I was still very sick. Started doing some makeup and really got into that and started expressing myself through my art because I still found it very hard to talk and express myself. Like physically even, I didn't even have the strength to laugh properly or talk properly. Now I've got the ugliest laugh ever and you just can't shut me up. So, yeah, I was just so weak. Couldn't even walk upstairs. Yeah, that was really scary and that's when I'd given up and that was it. And then I ended up getting pretty good at this whole makeup thing and body painting. Moved over to LA. That's what I do. I just pick up and leave sometimes. I'm like, I'm bored. See ya. And just left. Ended up living there for 4 years and then, had a pretty shocking relationship and because I hated myself, I didn't do anything. And, and then I relapsed pretty badly again when I was in New York, went back to LA and was just abusing myself and eventually came back to Australia 2019 around Easter. I was a case and a half then. Actually went into a rehab centre, detoxed. I was still eating like hardly anything and from there it's been a bit better, like going up. And then COVID happened. I was pretty good, but I was still in that weird position I think when you're functioning, you're okay. You can pretend you're okay. You can lie a lot. You can make excuses for yourself. And, so I was in that position of I'm still in hell, but I'm able to pretend that I'm not in hell. COVID happened and I had a little bit of a drop of drinking in the morning going, I don't know what's going on. I think everyone had a bit of a crisis because we didn't know what was happening. But mine, of course, went back to what I knew, which was extreme destruction. I was like, I need to go back into rehab. I need to do all this. And then I was like, you know what? No, you're going to make this. You're going to do this. And it was just a turnaround. I started eating. I started training. I got help from people who were not in the eating disorder community. I got help from coaches to this is what you got to eat. But it wasn't forced on me. It was my choice. And ever since then, I've just gotten so much better. I've gotten to healthy weight. Yeah, it's hard, but it's not I'm not connected to that eating disorder anymore, which is fucking awesome. And yeah, here we are now. I'm actually talking about it and helping people, and I honestly never thought I'd get there.
Well, I've got to say that's a big step in the right direction. You're doing well.
Yeah, it is. It's been a long time coming though.
So let's clarify for listeners.
Yeah.
So you started off not eating at all, then you binge eat, and then you went back to not eating at all.
Yep.
What was the highest weight you got to? And I know at 18, were you 27 kilos?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what was the highest weight?
70.
Wow.
Yeah, I went from 70 to...
And what time frame did you lose all that weight?
It was about 8 months.
Shit.
So my body was done. It was done. Muscle wastage. My liver was in failure. My heart was in failure. My blood results were dead. You have got the blood results of someone who's severely sick. So, yeah.
That is crazy.
It even got to the point where even if because I've always been able to sort of eat when I was really sick, because I knew that I looked terrible and I wanted to, I was still eating. I wasn't physically trying to lose weight, but I would actually have something like 2 Weet-Bix, and that would be so much for my body to process. I'd go into this little, I'd fall straight to sleep and I could go into those hypoglycemic comas as soon as you have that. And I was like over 2 Weet-Bix, that's what a child does.
That's how bad your body got.
That's how bad your body gets. Yeah.
Wow.
And the worst part is you think you're okay and you're like, I'm losing weight, I can control it. And then you can't control it anymore one day and you didn't even see it coming.
Wow. And I've seen this on Instagram, tell me if you're wrong, but did you only just start eating hash browns?
I had my first hash brown 3 months ago in my life. I'm still learning to eat. I learned to eat at 25.
That's crazy.
I was like, what goes with what?
What other foods have, I guess, most normal people would eat that you've only just...
everything.
Really?
Like I had Macca's for the first time, or Domino's Pizza
Really?
for the first time last year. Yeah.
Wow. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah.
What's your favourite?
Oh, I'm going to get so much shit for this, but I got a vegan ham and cheese.
No judgment. No judgment.
Look, I'm not vegan. I will never be vegan, but I don't eat meat. But I was like, I've got to get a pizza that looks like a real pizza, so I'm just going to pretend.
So talk to me about your little trip to LA.
Oh,
what sparked LA? Like what drew you there?
I wanted to do special effects makeup.
Yep.
And so one night I was kind of a little bit drunk. And I was like, special effects makeup, how do I get out of Australia? Found this school. If anyone from the school sees this, they're going to be like, what? I lied about my education. I made up a degree because I hadn't finished high school. I made up a degree saying that I had finished school, equivalent to their GC. I don't even know what's going on over there. GCA.
GPA. Something like that.
Fucking what. But so I made that up and they let me go into the school on this fake degree.
Well, you did a good job at that.
It was a really good degree. I got honours. And I went over there because I just need to get out of Australia because Australia for me was just all the shit that I've been through. It was just like abusing myself, and I had to get out to see that I just wanted a fresh start, really, and that's what I got by doing that. And it was something that I was good at. I've always been so bad at school, and I haven't ever tried at school because why?
Yeah.
Why? Yeah. So it was something that I was good at, and so I just left, and then I ended up getting awesome jobs and working with like sweet people and going into fashion, doing the fashion shows and stuff. It was a bit of a roller coaster. It was like a rock star lifestyle.
Yeah.
But along with that, when I got, it was really good, and then when that kind of weared off, the novelty, and realised that I was still not okay in myself, I was like, how can I abuse myself? And we went back to old times, and it's always a cycle. I go somewhere, I'm okay for a bit, and then all the shit comes in because I'd never actually fixed it.
Yeah.
Never fixed it.
So I guess that was one of your escapes growing up. What other escapes did you have? What did you do to, I guess, try and get rid of what you were feeling?
I would stop eating to numb myself.
Yep.
I would self-harm, and I wouldn't leave my house. I went through like stages of just being on the computer the whole time, just sitting there. I wouldn't leave. I wouldn't go anywhere. Drinking. Yep. That was my escape. So I guess the makeup thing was pretty healthy. I'd occasionally do art, but that was only when I was okay or either psychotic.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I guess what do you think drew to that point? Like, how does it start so young?
I don't know.
It's crazy how...
That's what has been, it's something that I can't dwell on because why? It's something that happened to me, and I think I've just been a very sensitive person that picks up on other people's feelings quite a lot around me. But it just happened, and there was no trigger, there was nothing, but it just did. And there's no way that I can be like, what happened? Where did it come from? Whose fault is this? There's no point me going around my own head trying to figure out why. It's just, how do I get out of it?
Yeah, it's amazing how someone so young can, I guess, feel that way and have those thoughts. Like, you're supposed to be innocent.
I know, you're supposed to have like a good childhood. I remember one of my earliest thoughts is just screaming, I want to die. Like, what? And like cutting my leg when I was 7 years old. I still remember that so vividly, just to kind of feel something and to get out of that out of control feeling. So I felt in control, which is a double-ended sword because you're not in control when you're cutting yourself.
How does that affect your family?
Oh, it fucks them over.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I have put my family through absolute hell. They did not deserve it. They should have given up on me multiple times, but they didn't. We're good now, but, they went through a lot, and there's nothing I can do to honestly repay them except for survive.
Yeah. Do you have any siblings?
Yeah, I've got a brother. He's 10 years older than me. He's completely sane.
Yeah.
Which sucks for me. I'm the only one in my family with any tattoos or like wild piercings, and the mental case, as I would say. But you know what? everyone's family's got to have that crazy person.
It's part of your journey. It makes you who you are.
Yeah, it is. It honestly is, yeah.
Now, you said the medical industry kind of gave up on you.
Yeah.
How does that make you feel knowing that they're the ones that are supposed to help you and then they just give up?
So I look at it as if you're in a boat accident and everyone's got their life jackets on, you are relying on that life jacket to keep you alive.
Yeah.
They pull the plug, they go away in their little safety boat, and they take your whistle with them, and they're like, peace. You go into treatment scared as shit. You don't know what to do because you're literally giving up. You're giving up your addiction, your security blanket, and you don't know how to do anything else but that. So with them giving up, you feel angry, you feel like, why did I even bother? I can't get better. If you can't help me, no one can. So you feel betrayed and scared.
And what's it actually like in there? Like, how do they treat you just like a number, or?
Yeah, you're a statistic until you die. Honestly, I saw too many of my friends die in there. They yell at you. They, you get in trouble if you don't eat. You're part of their program. You're part of their book. You're a study for them. Like, I had med students come and be like, you're a good case for us to study. And I was like, I'm not your fucking guinea pig. Like, piss off. And then they were like, she's angry. Give her pills. So I was like, yeah, I'm fucking angry. So they give you medication to your eyeballs. I was just pilled out. At 16, I had medication that I read the thing. And it was like, you're not supposed to have this until you're 21. I was like, sweet. If you start talking and they didn't like what you were saying, go to sleep, and they give you something, and then if you didn't want to take it, it was put as refused. There was too much shit going on in those systems that it's still, like, they fucked me up in there so badly. There was a sexual assault case I experienced where I didn't experience it to the extent as a lot of other people did, but enough to scar me, to make me hate and not trust anyone. And that was a big part of, I was like 16 years old, a big part of being traumatised by the medical industry. Yeah.
It's disgusting, and honestly, I spoke to you before. It's not the first time I've heard about it.
When you said that, I was like, yep, everyone is the same. That's why I think I'm so determined to speak out and be like, you guys don't need the medical industry to do it. You can do it yourself. There's no right way. There's no wrong way. You don't need to do mindfulness. You don't need to do meditation. I probably say that because I'm jealous because I can't meditate. I can't do it. But, I think there's no right or wrong way to get better. You do what you have to do it. And, if someone kicks you out of a psychiatric facility, just go with your head held high and be like, well, cool, I don't fit your statistic. I'm sorry, I'm a human being.
Yeah, they wonder why people don't reach out and why suicide's so high, because they treat you like shit. Like, another story, this another girl that I'm going to be getting on the podcast. Yeah. She went and seen a psychiatrist and she broke down crying and said, I want to kill myself. And guess what the psychiatrist said? Go do it. So she went and jumped in front of a train, and now she's lost both her legs. Wow. Yeah, that's how bad it can get.
It does, and in saying that, I lost roommates, because you grow close to the people who you're with, because you're in there for 12 weeks at a time. Lost roommates to suicide in there. That scares you at such a young age. I don't want to see that. I don't, especially when I was so close to it myself. You see it, you're like, okay, cool. I remember you get into trouble when you're in there. So it's the rules for going in is you have to eat, you have to be above a certain BMI. I don't really understand. And you can't self-harm and you can't talk about triggering things. Why the fuck am I here? I'm here to stop self-harming, talk about my feelings, which may be triggering, probably going to be pretty underweight if I'm in an eating disorder facility, and I should be able to, be me. And I got into trouble so many times. I got thrown out of group for being for asking questions. They were like, that's inappropriate, please leave. I was like, oh, okay. I remember actually self-harming pretty badly and ending up in ICU, and they just said to me, don't do that again. You make everyone upset. And I was like, make me feel even worse about this. And they do things like mind games where they're like, okay, we're going to take your shoelaces out of your shoes and like the little things in your hoodie, you're going to take that out. But you can't actually wear your clothes anyway. You have to wear like hospital gowns. I'm like, just take my shoes. For the love of God, I don't want to be relacing it later. You know, it's just like shit like that and protocols like that. I was just over it, and it was a blessing when they said to me, like, we can't help you anymore. You're going to die. Okay, I want to. Watch me.
That's deep. So basically prisoners get treated better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, fuck.
Wow. Yeah, I can't gather like what it would actually be like going there and going through that.
Yeah.
And I guess when they tell you you're going to die.
Yeah.
But then I guess at the time that's what you wanted. So I guess.
It is, but like, aren't they supposed to be like.
Yeah.
You're not going to die. You're going to be okay. That's honestly, sometimes I think they get scared because they don't know. With an eating disorder, it's a really hard one because there's no cure. We're still looking at like why it happens, how it happens, and how to get better from it. And so they don't really know what they're doing. So when they give up and they think they're going to lose somebody, they want you out of the system because they don't want you to be another statistic as to them losing patients.
Yeah, they don't want the pressure on them.
Yeah.
And that is not helping you one bit.
Absolutely not. Yeah.
That's how many people would you say that were in there like died?
I knew 7 people over 2 years who killed themselves.
And how does that affect you seeing that happen?
You feel it's terrible. I went to more funerals than weddings. Just knowing that like you could be next. It was more scary, the suicide rate, than the actual medical rate. Like, they say that eating disorders have the highest rate of mortality, but that is mainly suicide. I didn't actually see somebody, maybe one, but, actually die from medical complications. It was the suicide.
Yeah, it's more so not the disorder, it's how it's handled.
It is, 100%, like anything. And I feel like sometimes what you need is someone to just be like, that sucks. And just sit there and you can talk, you can say whatever, instead of, why don't you do this? Maybe if you eat some more, or I'm not going to talk to you until you reach a certain weight.
It's like, you know that stuff?
And the thing is, like, you're not stupid when you have, like, mental health. You're not stupid. And you know all this stuff, and that's part of the frustration, is not being able to go through with it and do it. You're like, I know that I will feel better at that weight. I know I will feel better if I eat. But getting there is too painful and too hard. So fuck that noise. I'm just going to stay here. As what I know may not be great, but it's not there.
Yeah. Why do you think mental health is so high these days? Because it wasn't really heard of until... Do you think social media has a big impact on that?
It wasn't heard of. People still had it, but people weren't talking about it. It's a stigma. People weren't talking about it. Like, it's always been there. It's always been around, but it was very quiet. And I think it's good now. People are talking about it because it should be normalised. It should be fine. I think it's so normal. Everyone struggles. Yeah. Everyone struggles.
Yeah. So you don't think it's gotten worse? It's just people are now talking about it?
Yeah.
Exactly. That's why I do this, and that's why I had to get you on today. Yeah. Because I feel like a lot of people are going to relate.
Yeah.
And I know by the end of this, it's going to help you talking about this and getting it off your chest. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah.
So I guess some topics that you wanted to touch on. Mental health in children. Yeah. What about that did you want to kind of touch on?
I think a lot of people don't think that it comes on so young.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to hit this thing. They don't think that it comes on so young. They think it can only come due to a certain reason when you're older in life and it needs a trigger. And I think so many people, especially in eating disorders, because when you're a kid, like, you try and... The only thing that you can really control is food. It's one of the easiest things to control. Yeah. And that's why it comes along so young. And I think that why I wanted to touch on it was, like, if you see signs in a kid, don't get them in trouble, don't make them eat anything. Just sit them down and be like, hey, what's going on?
Yeah.
Just normalise it. And normalise it in young ages. And, yeah, I think that was it. Just, like, it's a much more common younger than we think. So, yeah, it's nothing to be ashamed of. And sometimes we're like, oh, they'll grow out of it. Maybe they'll just grow more into it because that's what they used to and that's what they're training themselves to do. So it's a fine line. It's hard to sort of talk to a kid about that, but it's worth the conversation.
It's hard for parents too because they're not educated about these topics, so
Exactly.
they don't know what to do.
And they can be in denial about, like, they'll be fine, she'll be all right, you know, that kind of thing, or like it's a phase. Like, just, I think, be a little bit more in tune with what they're actually doing. Is it a phase? Has it been going on for too long? And could we do something now just to help it? Yeah. Or just, you know, be aware. I think that's the main thing, is to be aware, because sometimes you can't fix somebody, you can't change somebody, but you can be aware of what they're going through and be there.
Just listening can help so much.
Fucking listen and be like, that sucks. What can we do?
Exactly.
Not, what are you going to do to fix this? What can we do to support you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, talk to me like rock bottom. A lot of people say, I'll change when I hit rock bottom.
Yeah.
What is rock bottom like for you?
Fuck. So rock bottom for me is my bag. Just anyway. Fucking ghost. So a lot of people say I'll change when I reach rock bottom, and that makes me so like, oh my God, you don't want to get there, because so rock bottom for me, this is like, I don't think I've ever really talked about this, but I was 18 and I couldn't walk, I couldn't talk properly, I'd sleep, I had given up, I'd checked out, and I decided one day I was gonna check out. And that day I was so calm, so cool, collected, just chill and zen, which was quite disturbing. I've never felt like that. And I tried to just end it. And when that doesn't work, you're literally like screaming. It's like sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
So this day I had literally sleep paralysis while I was awake. I was screaming on the inside, but I couldn't physically move, because even me wanting to just stop and cut it off, that didn't even work. So I had literally nowhere to go, nothing to do. I couldn't go anywhere. I couldn't do anything. And this was actually my changing point at rock bottom. I actually had to watch my dad read a suicide letter that I'd written. And watching that was enough to break my soul. I hardly had any emotions, but in seeing that, it was awful. And seeing just that reaction, you realise that, okay, maybe I still hate myself, maybe I can't do this for myself, but maybe one day I'll see why people care. Yeah. And that was the day after I ended up in hospital with an NG tube, and I was like, I give up. If I can't kill myself, then I'll let the system kill me, and if it doesn't, then we'll be okay. And that was it. I still hated myself, but that was my rock bottom, was just at that point where you can't even die. Like, that was it. And I think people idealize this thing of rock bottom. It's like, yeah, I'll get to a point where I'm like, yeah, okay, I've gotten as bad as I can. I thought I was at rock bottom at 14 when I was like psychotically just running around, like binging and throwing up and, you know, that kind of thing. But I was still knew what I was doing. Yeah. My rock bottom was when I had nothing. I had no control, and I had nowhere to go. It's just this lost feeling. It's really hard to describe it. I think sleep paralysis is the most. You just feel numb. Yeah, you're numb. You're screaming though, because you desperately want to run, but you physically can't move. Yeah. It's crazy. Yeah. Now, you mentioned that your dad read your suicide letter. Yeah. Do you remember what was on that letter? No. Oh. No. Yeah. Yeah, I do actually. It was just like, it'll be okay. You'll miss me for a bit, then we'll be okay. It was something along the lines of that. And now I look back at that and I'm like, it doesn't work like that. No. It really doesn't work like that. No one's ever okay after losing somebody. Like, you can't be okay, especially losing a kid. No parent should be burying their kids. No. And I've seen too many parents through the years have to do that, and the ripple effect on a family, on friends, everything. And I think that was my biggest thing to stay alive, was the ripple effect, and how, you know, I don't know, I still find it hard to be like, you can love yourself and stuff, but maybe one day you'll understand why other people do love you and need you there. I think that's an easier way to easing into giving yourself self-respect and self-love, is just maybe one day you'll see why. Yeah. And I'm still getting there, but yeah. So that was that.
It's life. It's all a journey.
It is.
As long as we're getting better every day.
Exactly.
That's all that matters.
Yeah, and I kind of look at it as like, well, if I was at rock bottom, then I just had to jump a little bit higher to get out. Yeah. And I had to use that as fuel to get up. And I feel like the lower I go, the higher I can jump. So, yeah.
And how did that affect your dad reading that? Have you spoken about it?
No, we haven't, I've never actually spoken about that, but like he was there for me a lot through the rest of the journey, because there was nobody else, like medical wise, no, there were just no respect, but he stuck by me, and now I'm like, how did he do that? Like, how? I don't know how he had the energy to be answering my calls at 3 a.m. Also, when I was like, I want to die, fucking fucked, that kind of thing. Like, hearing that is just, you don't want that. And I think that I put him through hell with me. So, Thanks, bud.
I guess when you're a parent, you'll probably understand why.
Yeah. Even I sit with my cat and I'm like, oh my God, baby, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm fine. So, yeah.
Let's talk about recovery. It's not all sunshine and rainbows like people think.
Oh my God, no. No, everyone's like, oh, so recovery, you have to do this like cookie cutter thing. If you wake up, you meditate, you do your yoga, you salute the sun, you eat this certain amount of this, you go for a walk and you don't have tattoos, piercings, you don't swear, and you don't go party. Absolutely not. Those things got me through.
Who the fuck's living that lifestyle?
I don't know, but that's the goal. No. Everyone thinks it's this like, I don't know, it's all mantras and shit. Like, no, absolutely not. Like, you need to know that it's going to be the most painful experience, especially from eating disorders. You go through a lot of physical pain. You go through a lot of like, your muscles are growing, and that is shit. I had to grow boobs 3 times. That's like puberty, going through puberty 3 times. Like, if you're a girl, you know this. It's bad. That kind of shit. Like, and so one day being like, I'm okay. I ate properly today, and then you're like, cool, I have to do this again. I have to do this again tomorrow. Also things like I went through a pretty bad bulimia stage, realising that I'm not allowed to throw up after my food is the most, like, it's an addiction. It's such an addiction. So, it's just things like that, even urges. Like, I might even now still eat something and be like, oh my God, I feel really full. And the memory in my brain goes, go throw up. But I have to talk to myself and be like, no, don't do that. Why would you do that? That's really dumb. Why would you do that? I do a lot of self-talk like that. So sometimes if I'm muttering, I'm not actually muttering.
It's helpful talking to yourself.
You've got to do the self-talk sometimes. But it's all about like finding the balance of what, like, you can't kick everything at once. Yeah. And you can't be so harsh on yourself. You really can't. You're like, oh, I fucked up today. How did you fuck up? Oh, I didn't eat my lunch. Did you eat breakfast? Yes. Did you have a snack? Yes. Did you not cut yourself? Yes. Let's look at that. Fuck lunch. Lunch will happen tomorrow, That's fine. So stop being so harsh on yourself. It's also meltdowns, massive meltdowns. I can't do this. And you have moments where you regret getting better because you're like, oh my God, what have I done? Yeah. But then it gets better. It does get better. And when people told me it gets better, I would just be like, no, it doesn't get better. It doesn't get better. I've tried. I'd tried, but I hadn't done it. Yeah. I had tried, but I hadn't done it. And the only way that you can see that is by doing it. You actually end up forgetting what it was like. I remember counting out, like, I used to count out my food, like literally count out spinach leaves and be like, oh my God, there's 6 there. That's too big, that one. It was like this OCD. Now I don't even think to do that. But you forget things. You honestly forget it, and it's the most freeing thing. And the amount of stuff that's going on in your head when you're obsessed with things, like even my OCD went from food to like what colours I could wear to how many times I could walk up and down the stairs to, it was just, everything was just so intense. And when you get better, you're just like, oh my God, my brain would have just been in overdrive, like chill. So chill now.
Yeah.
You know, nothing really phases me anymore either, like, because I've seen so much shit. But recovery is just, there's no right or wrong way to do it as well. I think if you find a therapy group that doesn't work for you, then don't go. Who says you have to go? If you find that someone gives you a meal plan, you're like, that's disgusting, which 99.9% of the time they are, and they don't make any sense, don't eat it. Don't do it. Do it for you, the way that you want to do it and the way that's going to work for you to create a life, not to recover, not to get better, to start a life. And I think for me, recovery was really hard because I had no memories to look back on and be like, I want to go back to how I was when I was 12, 13, running around with the sunshine and daisies and eating ice cream and loving my life. There's no way I wanted to go back there because I was in hell through, like, it's been a 20-year battle, and I didn't want to go back to that. So I had to really be like, I need to trust in whatever, that it's worth it.
Yep.
Because it wasn't worth it until a few months ago. I didn't see that it was worth it. So it's all about trusting it. And I think my biggest thing with recovery, what worked for me, and which is what I keep telling people who message me, is look at it as an experiment. You don't have to do this forever. If you just want to throw in the towel for a month and be like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to eat like this, I'm going to not exercise, or I'm going to exercise. This can go for anything in recovery, or I'm just going to not do any drugs, or I'm not going to drink. Just do it as an experiment. And if you hate your life after those 4 weeks, go back to it. You can go back to starving yourself. You can go back to binging. You can go back to whatever you were doing before that was getting you through. But if you're not feeling any better, you will feel better.
Yeah.
And I think that's how I looked at it, was I was going to do a 12-week experiment.
Yeah.
Just give it a go. And I honestly was like, I can't wait till those 12 weeks are up and I'm going to go back to being miserable. It's what I know. It's what I'm good at. Sweet, let's do it. Now the thought of that is just like, it still haunts me. Yeah. It still haunts me, yeah.
So you had to learn to live life, basically.
I did. I had to, as I said, like, first hash brown. The fuck is this? And I was like alien. I felt like E.T. You've got to learn to eat. You've got to learn to do everything. And you've got to learn to also, obviously, because I depleted my body so much, you need to get your body healthy as well.
Yeah.
I know that, like, for women, like, everyone gets their period and stuff. I lost it for 10 years. 10 years is a substantial amount of time, and then getting that back was a massive milestone of, you're healthy now. They told me, meaning medical fuckers, that I would never get it back. I would never probably grow my hair back. I would never be okay. My heart would always have problems. My liver would always be damaged. Nah, I'm fine now. I'm fine. I'm medically good. Yeah. And they're huge milestones for me. And, like, it's quite... I think my biggest thing right now with it is I look back and I'm like, I fucking wasted my life. I did. I wasted it. But I only think like that if I'm having a shitty day. Because I can't have wasted it. And I think if I can help one or two people just by them listening to this, that 20 years was worth it. It was worth going through that hell if I can come out and be like, don't die. Just don't do it.
Yeah.
So I think I just need to put those 20 years to good use now.
Yeah, well, no doubt you're going to help a lot of people. And you're only 26. You're still young. Yeah. You've got plenty
God, that's old. I feel old.
You're not old. You still got plenty of life to live. Now, so recovery, not sunshine and rainbows. No. It's a shit show of a road.
Absolute shit show.
And I guess what you said about stressing over little things, missing lunch and that, that everyone can relate to that.
Everyone.
In everyday life, people stress about, I guess, stupid things, small things. Yeah. And
bigger picture.
Yeah, you just it's all about perspective.
It is. Like, don't look at your losses, look at your wins. Look what you did do.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, crap, I got out of bed today and I just couldn't manage to do this. You got out of bed, though.
Yeah.
You have to think like that. And if you fuck up one day, there's always tomorrow. If you want there to be a tomorrow, there will be a tomorrow. And,
Yeah, well, I can relate. I stress over the smallest things and then the next day I'm like, why the hell did I stress over that?
Probably didn't get enough sleep or, like, anything. It's like the smallest things around you and you're like, damn. it's all a new day, it's all a new thing, it's all a new perspective every day if you look at it the right way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your training and diet like now?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, so that's what I mean in recovery. It's like you need to find what works for you.
Yeah.
So when I was trying to be healthy, by being healthy, I don't mean like dieting. I mean, I'm going to try and eat more. I just live off certain foods.
Yep.
And I was like, I'm still eating, but it wasn't what you're supposed to eat. Like, yeah, not at all. When I was trying to find what was a good kind of nutrition and exercise for me, I, of course, being the addictive person that I am, got severely addicted to exercise in a really bad way, like cardio. I was a cardio. I was just going for it.
One of those cardio bunnies, eh?
Oh my God. I was just like 30,000 steps a day, running, boxing, like HIIT classes 2-3 times a day, and my body was still under stress.
Yeah.
So I kind of only recently was like, let it go, let the cardio go, because I think it was all about like, I can't get rid of everything, because I was like addicted to everything. If I get something, I'm like, I'm addicted to it, I love it, that's who I am, and it's shit, but I'm working on not being such an all or nothing person. And so just I would start to cut out a bit of cardio, cut it out. And then just recently I was like, okay, I'm going to weight train, because I don't believe it. I don't think it's going to be good. I think I'm just going to gain 1,000,000 kilos and I'm just going to turn into an absolute, like, oh, I'm going to hate it. I love it. And it's healthy. I feel so much better. Everyone was telling me this, and you're right. I don't like admitting it, but you're right. You don't need to do cardio to be healthy. Or, it's good sometimes. I do a little bit of it. Yep, by all means, but I do it for fun and not in an obsessive way. So I do like 3 days of weight training a week, and then I'll do maybe 2 boxing classes. I love boxing. I love hitting stuff. It's wonderful. It's fun. And then I'll do maybe 1 or 2 days depending on how I'm feeling, which is really cool to say, because back at the beginning of the year, it's 2021, last year, it didn't matter how I felt. I could have been an absolute fried zombie. We're going for a run, or we're going to go to the gym, and then literally I'd be shaking and just like I had no energy for anything else. So yeah, and now I'm like, if I'm feeling like it, I might go and do something else. Food-wise, I do track my food, but that is, and again, that's my thing of, in the eating disorder world, they're like, don't track your food, don't weigh yourself, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this. Why? If it's going to help you in a healthy way, do it. So I made sure that I can do a day without tracking and it doesn't control me, but I do it to also see that I am eating enough. So I've kind of gone the opposite way of being like, I need to make sure that I hit these goals in order to be able to train and get the results that I want. So yeah, I am tracking in a very different mindset to what I was doing before. Yeah.
It's crazy how your mindset can change like that.
Oh my God.
One, I guess, event can change your mindset and your whole path of life.
Oh, it's wild. I used to track 200 calories of lollies and be like, that's my diet for 3 days. Now I'm like, I can't even think I could. I don't think I could even go back to that. No. I physically couldn't do it. I don't want to, but I'm like, even if I tried to, I couldn't do it. No. I really couldn't do it. No.
And like looking back now, like where you were, you thought, oh, I can't get out of this. Yeah. And now you're here today talking about it.
I never thought I'd get here.
No,
I tried not to. I tried so hard not to get here.
Yeah.
But here we are.
So don't stress, people. Just take it one day at a time.
Honestly, it could take you years, and I don't want that to be like it'll take years, but it's not going to happen overnight.
Exactly.
It really
Even if it does take years, you got to enjoy the process, because at the end of it, you're going to be very thankful for what you've done.
Yeah, and you probably won't enjoy the process, to be honest, but you won't enjoy the process until you do.
Yeah.
And you don't know when that's going to be, that point is going to be, so you've got to be on your toes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And as you can take that into everyday life as well. Like,
absolutely.
You got bodybuilders that have to go through extreme training and diet and stuff.
The prep period and stuff. I see people and I talk to them, they're like, I have prep brain, and I was like, I know. You're talking like I don't even know what you're saying. And I'm like, but you do you. Like, props to you. The control that they've got is insane. I'm like, I want to do that. And I'm like, I just calm down.
Now, with your addictive personality,
I love it, yeah.
what drugs and that were you into?
I wasn't into it. They were into me. They had a grip on me. So this whole drug thing, of course, I haven't really spoken about either. So I remember when I was 7, I would always say that I felt sick, and that was my anxiety. That was me expressing my anxiety. I would go into the cupboard in the bathroom and I'd get like anti-nausea medication and I'd be drinking it out of the bottle, and it was like a placebo. It was literally a placebo for my brain. Imagine that, a 7-year-old, like, like I look back at that and I'm like, that's fucked up. That's some fucked up shit right there. Like, but to me it was just like normal. And then it kind of, I was just always had to have it in my bag. Always had to have like some sort of medication, Panadol, something. So I was like, what if I feel sick? It was a panic attack. Yeah. If I had a panic attack, I'd be like, Panadol, or like, doesn't know. No. And then going into hospitals, they love to palm you out with the medication. Yep. So for me, I was like, okay, cool. So if I'm feeling like shit, I can put myself to sleep by taking antipsychotics. I can calm myself down by taking some Valium. Leaving hospital, you get your own. So I'd be hoarding it and I'd just be taking it all the time. The physical effects were shit too. Like you'd just be shaking if you didn't have it. Then America, I keep hitting stuff. Like, anyway. And then America was shit, really shit. I would be hoarding. I'd take so much over with me from here and I'd just bomb myself out because I didn't want to be awake. So sleeping pills are my thing, and I kind of look at it as a domino effect. Now I can go out and drink and be fine. It's a social thing. Yeah. I did have to go completely sober for a while to see that I could go without substance, but now I'm like, I am okay. I would go doctor shopping in America and they love a good Xanax over there. They love a good Xanny. So do I. Yeah. So do I. So I'd go to a doctor and be like, hi, I'm from Australia. This is my, don't get ideas, by the way.
Don't take this advice.
This is not advice. This is a spiral for destruction. I get a 90-day supply of Xanax, like Xanax bars. So you're supposed to take a quarter of a bar on occasion if you're having a terrible panic attack and you need to go to sleep. I was taking 2 to 3 bars a day, so 4 times the dose, and I was a good 15 kilos lighter than I am now. I would be downing that with half to 1 bottle of vodka a day. This was all in secret. So this was all a very secretive thing because I'm great at being secret. If you're asleep, no one's going to ask you. True. Yep. And then to wake up, it was the uppers. And legal and illegal. It was a spiral, and I thought, this is fine. My anxiety was through the roof, so what do you do when you have a panic attack? You take the Xanax, and then when you're down, you take the uppers, and then you just numb yourself out with the vodka. So it was like, fucking throw knives at me. Like, this is what it is. Sleeping all day, every day. And then I started to get quite psychotic about it, and like, I can't do this anymore. The self-harm started to come back in as well, because that would sort of give me a bit of a slap in the face about literally like to snap out of this. And that's when I came back to Australia, was when I was like severely just addicted to everything. With like anything, and that's, so I went in like detox and everything. Addiction is very different for everybody. Some people have to completely not have anything, and that is purely them. For me, like anything, if it controls you, you need to see that you can go without it. Yeah. I had to see that I can go without alcohol or anything for quite some time, but now I'm like, I am okay without it. And that goes with, say, exercise or dieting. If someone takes something away from you, what's your reaction to it? So I'm still trying to find the middle ground with a lot of things. And I know that sometimes it also depends on the state of mind you're in. If I'm in a really shit headspace and it's 11 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, I could go and drink and few little crushed up things here and there, then I can't do it. Then I'm like, no, we can't do this today. Whereas if people are like, oh yeah, let's go out and party on the weekend, I'm like, fucking let's go. It's a very different mentality as to how you deal with those things. So I think also drugs in America are so easy to get and very, very cheap.
Yeah.
So, especially the kind of work that I was doing, the industry that I was in, it was like you just walked down, there was like lines of cocaine on the table in the morning, and you're like, coffee. You know, it was that kind of thing, and being able to do things very secretly. It was a pretty wild time. And so bringing that back to, not bringing back, I never smuggled drugs, I said bringing the mentality back to Australia was like, I still had those coping mechanisms. Over there, I brought them back here. So I was like, okay, I'm still going to do that. But over here, it's not as, I don't know, it was a very weird thing to be doing that at home. Even like at the beginning of COVID, I kind of went back into that. Like, oh, it's morning, I'll do this, I'll do X, Y, and Z, and I'll be fine, and no one knew about it. So
you said you can go for a social drink now. How do you kind of control yourself and not head back down that path?
I think I know that if there was Xanax there, I would. That's my domino. Everyone with, I think, addiction has their domino effect. So
the trigger.
What's the one that sets you off? Xanax is mine. If someone says to me, "Do you want a Xanny?" I'd be like, "Absolutely not." Even though I'd be like, "That looks amazing." So everyone has their trigger and their first one that goes. Mine's not alcohol.
Yeah.
And I also know that if I'm in a really bad headspace, not to go out. Not to go and give myself the temptation to have a drink which will turn into 10. I also know that if I go out drinking, I kind of know how to pace myself now. I'm not one to go out and binge drink. I would rather, that was another thing with me, is like I tried not to go completely sober. I was doing the whole NA groups and stuff, and they were really, really insightful, really good, and I'm really glad I did them, but they're very much so you've got like go completely sober, which I did do for a while, but after that, I was like, I need to be able to go socially, because I was sort of retracting back into my social anxiety again.
Yep.
Of like, I'm not going to go out because there's going to be alcohol and I can't drink because I'm in NA. And I sort of went, no, you know what, I can go. So I started to drink again by driving. So I'd drive there. I knew that I could only have 1 to 2 and driving home. So I did that for a while. No alcohol in the house. That was another big thing. No alcohol in the house. I'd also make people aware and sort of just say, I'm only going to have 2 or 3. Stop me after that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Made it into a bit of a joke, not like I'm fucking serious. And now I can easily go out and drink, and it's not in a bad way at all. And I just know how to sort of pace myself, because I hate getting wasted and hungover. That's not what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm very aware of myself, and I think I'm very aware of myself because I know my tipping point, and I know how many I can have. Unfortunately, I can handle quite a few, so it's not like I'll have to be like, woo, but yeah, so it's all about knowing what's right for you, what your headspace is, and taking it day by day and moment by moment, and seeing how you are in the moment. And you don't have to drink. You don't have to not drink. Again, that was the thing of like, if you're trying to go through recovery for addiction, maybe it is a really good idea to go completely sober for a while just to see that you can do it. But if you're able to reintroduce something in on occasion and be like, yeah, okay, I don't really see a problem with it, because, Yeah.
And has your friendship circle changed?
Yeah.
Because obviously you've got to surround yourself with people, and they're not going to send you back to where you were.
So my friendship group is very scattered.
Yeah.
Throughout, like, being really sick, I would push everybody away. Push them all away. I was like, no, fuck you. If they wanted to help me, what are you doing? Why are you trying to do this to me? Why are you sabotaging me? They weren't. They really weren't. So I pushed so many people away. I've managed to, of course, get a lot of those friendships back, just because I had to say, I was not myself. This is what was going on. And they've all understood. As much as I was very quiet about everything going through it, I've noticed that it also hurt them. Because they're like, do you want to come out? No. Do you want to come out? No. In my head, I was like, not really feeling sorry for myself, but like, I'm too sick, I'm too depressed, I can't do this, I can't eat, I can't do that. I won't be able to eat the food, so I'm just not going to go. I'll drink too much, so I'm just not going to go. I can't go without, like, my stupid little drug habit. I remember I used to put, like, Xanax on my fingers and put Band-Aids on it. I fucking remember that.
Really?
Yeah, that was my little way of going out with it. Again, don't do that. Don't do that. I was like, I can't go without the substance, without my security blanket, which was either drugs, alcohol, food, no food, self-harm, and those things don't go with social events, unfortunately. Yep. Meaning, even with the drinking, I'd want to drink before by myself. I'd want to drink by myself. It was a very me thing because I was going to destroy myself, not anybody else. So I realised now, looking back, I'm like, just turn the tables a bit. If you keep asking your friend to come over or come out or whatever, and they keep saying no, you're going to give up and you're going to think they don't like me, which is not the case. There's something going on. There was something going on, but it can seem pretty shit. And I think also losing friendships, they don't want to see you die. I've had people say, I can't see you die. I need to step away. Fair enough. And of course, me, I was like, I'm not going to die. I'm fine.
Yeah.
No. But now it's like I've found really good, genuine friendships from like getting a job, which I never thought I'd be able to do, is get a normal job. Going to places like going to the gym, making friends like that. And I think you also realise that you don't have the time of day for people that aren't real and don't have respect. Like I'm very much, I say I hate people. I actually love people, but whether or not I put my time and effort into them is very different. Because I think I see through people a lot.
Yeah.
Because if you've had a history, you see through people. So I'm very picky about who I open up to, and who I spend my time with. And I have got every minute of the day to help somebody if they're willing to also put in the effort, and try and be there and give it back. It's all about meeting halfway. So I think that's my sort of thing with friendships. And you do have to pick and choose who's good for you at the time. But I think also you have to be honest about it and be like, I need some time alone. I can't go out because I feel quite triggered right now to binge drink or, smash out a million drugs and stuff. So I need to not hang out today. And I think it's all about honesty because they will understand.
Yeah.
And if they don't, they're not your friends.
Exactly. You find out who your true friends are.
You do. You really do. And who checks in, who doesn't check in. But in saying that, you also have to check in on your friends.
Yeah. How did it affect your dating life? Did you say you dated someone in America?
Oh, yeah. I look back on my relationship history and I'm like, you are a cooked unit. They are terrible. Like, my type is not good. But I realised that my old type was just who is going to be destructive with me, who is going to ignore me because I hated myself, who's going to also just not really care about me and not pull me up on shit or really see who I am. Like, I kept a massive guard up, so it's been very hard to sort of let the guard down. And it just, relationships and friendships, family, it all went into that one thing of push everyone away. You don't want anyone to be in your life. Why would you want someone to join your little nightmare ride? So it's all the same. It's all the same.
Have you heard the saying trauma bonding? Like, you bond with someone over trauma and then you both be destructive.
Oh, yeah.
So that's kind of what you were doing?
That was exactly what I was doing, yeah. And now I'm just like, no, can't do that. I realise that my type is not my type. It's actually not my type at all. So...
What is your type? Because obviously you're still learning life.
I'm still learning. I'm like, I don't know. I think I like one type and then I'm like, oh, actually no. So I don't think I have a type. I think just
whatever you connect with, really.
I don't know what's going on in my life. I never thought that I'd be here. So who fucking knows? Who has a type? True. Just like my hair colour used to change every week. So maybe that's me. Yeah.
And what's your relationship like with your family now? Good relationship?
Yeah, it's good. I think of course, moving away was good. I feel like I needed to kind of give them space in a way. For them to see me being independent and leading a life now is all they wanted.
Yeah.
So I think now it's sort of at that point where I'm going to try and sort of give back to them in a way because they had looked after me for too long. Yeah. So... Yeah, it's good now. It's good. Of course, me and my brother, we've got a massive age gap. So there were years when we didn't really talk because, why would we? He was 16, I was 6 years old. There was none of that. But now now that we're older, like, we've got a really good friendship right now and stuff. So it's good to kind of go back and get the relationships back that I should have been having 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like I'm sort of starting my life again, which is like awesome. I'm like, cool, I have a canvas to do whatever I want.
Every day's new, you get to learn something
Literally,
new.
yeah, and I just have realised over time you have to put happiness first.
Exactly.
Everything else falls into place. Like, there's no point in being unhappy about, like, stressing out about money or, like, your job. If you hate your job, you quit. You know, if you're like, oh, I don't have any money, go out and make some. You know, you can do anything. No one's telling you how to do something or what to do. If you're going to be happy doing something, go and do it.
Yeah. It's just touching on people stressing about nothing. Like, everything is going to happen for a reason.
And it's all going to be okay.
Yeah.
I think that's something that I've become such a chilled out person. Like, if it's going to be okay. Like, there's no way that it's not going to be okay. And if it's not, fucking change it.
Yeah.
You have to change it. No one's going to change it for you, you know? Even people that are like, oh, yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to get better. I'm like, okay, what are we going to do? I can't do it for you.
Yeah.
I can't make you eat. I can't do anything. I can help you. I can listen to you. And by listening to you, I will help you. But you have to do it for yourself. And you can't wait. You can't wait for tomorrow. You can't wait for, I don't know, rock bottom, whatever. Like, do it.
Yeah. Take action.
I should work for fucking Nike. Just do it. You know?
Yeah, the issue may seem big at the moment. Say you're 80, 90 years old, looking back at your life, you're like, what the fuck was I doing? Yeah. Why was I stressing over something so small?
I think that's my thing now. I look back, I'm like, how many Christmases did I waste? How many times did I never eat birthday cake because I was like, oh, I'm scared? You know, how many times did I ruin things or, like, I don't know. And now it's just, stop looking in the past, you know? Like, just move on now. Do it now. Do it now. Who cares?
Exactly.
Who cares?
How was your Christmas last year?
Oh, it was good.
Yeah?
It was my birthday on Christmas. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, I was like, it was actually really awesome. It was free. My cousins were there. We just got quite lit and it was just nice. It was a really chill environment. There was no stress about, like, oh, is she okay? Is she going to eat? Is she right? What are we going to do? Like, is she going to freak out? Is she going to chuck the tantrum or is she just going to leave? Or is she going to be silent the whole time, which is pretty standard for me. If I was in a bad way, just sit there and stare at the floor.
Yeah.
No, it was great. It was great, actually.
That's awesome. I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. It was good.
Was that your first, would you say, normal Christmas?
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. As normal as family Christmases go.
That would have been an amazing feeling.
Yeah, it was great.
That's awesome. And it's only going to get better.
Yeah. I can see that now. And I think, like, with this whole hope thing is, like, even if you're not feeling it, you finally get a reason why you want to live.
Yeah.
And you realise that and you're like, I actually do have a reason to live and I've actually got things to look forward to, not things that I'm dreading. And it's all about how it just flips over. Instead of, like, I'm dreading going to that, you're like, I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to life. And it's the most amazing, like, liberating feeling.
And on that, what is your reason to live?
Why not?
Yeah.
Honestly, why not? Like, my reason right now is I want to use my shit, my trauma, whatever, in order to fuel something that can be the best life that I can live. And I want to help other people. I really do. I can't see, I don't want to see any more people die. I don't want to see any more people go through the system the way I did. And that, as I said before, if I can help anyone just by going through what I did and talking here today and keeping on doing my little question bubbles on Instagram.
As long as they don't mention tanning.
Oh, if you mention tanning, I'm blocking you. I'm sorry. Then it will be worth it. But yeah, I think my reason to live is that it's not bad. It's good. It's good. Yeah.
Do you feel more grateful now about life? You realise, life is too short. It can be, I can lose it at any second.
We can lose it any day and life is too short to fucking count your spinach leaves.
Yeah.
Like, let's not do that. It's even too short to be counting your steps in a day. Like, why fuel yourself into that? And I think when you're stuck in addiction, eating disorder, mental health, that's your world.
Yeah.
You don't see that there's another world out there and that is your world and your world is so small. So you're controlling your world. I know exactly how many steps I'm doing, how long I'm sleeping for, what I'm doing, what I'm eating, everything like that. But that's not the world.
No.
The world is massive. And I think you can do whatever you want. I really, like, that is my biggest thing, is like, you can do whatever you want. There's no right or wrong, ever. And it's not too late. That's something I'm still working on, is it's not too late to restart. And I think the only way that I could do that is by doing it. And you have to do it to see for yourself. Otherwise, you'll just be sitting there thinking, I'll do it someday. And then that someday will be, I've gotten so far back, I'm actually out of control now. So you have so much more work to do. So start today. None of this I'll start in 2021, 2022, 2023.
Fuck that bullshit off.
Honestly, doesn't matter. Everyone here, like, what? Who started their like, good, healthy diet on the Monday, not New Year's Day? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Do it whenever.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Take action now. Don't wait.
No.
I agree with everything you just said there.
Yeah.
Now, I guess a topic that I wanted to bring up, speaking about what you've gone through, people will look at your social media and see, I guess, the photos that you post.
Yeah.
How do you have the confidence to, one, do those photo shoots, and two, post them on social media?
Because it wasn't about body image for me.
Wasn't? No.
Never. It was about control. And I feel like so I was thinking a bit about this. It's all about having basic human rights. And when I started to sort of paint my own face and do my own makeup, I had no models to post.
Yep.
And I was literally living in a room because I didn't want to go outside. So I would paint my own face, and then I would post that online, and I would get some really good comments. And then as my following started to grow, I'd get some shit comments too. Go fucking eat something. Oh yeah, genius. Go eat a burger. You should be a doctor. You know, that kind of got some pretty nasty comments. Then when I got a little bit healthier, I was happy with my progress because I wasn't the 27 kilos that I was. Yeah. I was getting better. So any progress for me was better. So I think I have severe body dysmorphia still. Not in the sense of I look at myself and I'm like, I am fat. I remember my body dysmorphia got to the point of I would actually see my face morphing into like demonic shapes and stuff. That was when I was like, well, but the body dysmorphia can be not just fat, skinny. It can be any types of things. Like you might see your face go a weird way, or like just, it's really terrifying. It's like, did I just accidentally take acid or something? Like it's that kind of shit. And I feel like I was proud that I was getting better and getting more confident in posting. And the more shit comments I got, the more I was like, no, I have the right to post. So I kept posting. And then also getting into body painting, I love doing that. And of course, you're going to have a pair of nipples there. So you paint that and you post it. And I would get blocked on Instagram for it. And I'm not a rebel in the way of like, if you're not supposed to do something, I'll do it. Like, no, but I'm very much, I'll stick to my guns, even if it's, you know, if Instagram's like, no, you can't post that. I'm like, fuck you. So I kept posting it, and it kind of turned into a bit of a joke. So I actually got my Instagram deleted. And a lot of people who post things that are artistic get them deleted. So I actually made an exhibition in LA, it was called like Uncensored or something. So I got all these different artists and people who were on Instagram that got their photos deleted to print them out, and we had an exhibition of all the photos that were taken down off Instagram.
That's awesome.
It was really fun. And yeah, so I kind of it was a bit of a like, what's wrong with posting this kind of stuff, this content? It's all about the intention behind it. My intention has never, also, I want to make this very clear, I've never said anything about weight, body image, diet, what you shouldn't eat when I was posting those photos. So I was getting people being like, you're posting thinspo. I look at it and I'm like, yes, okay, I was posting myself very sick, but also you don't know what I was going through. I was also in quite a good mindset at that point. I was very underweight, but I was getting better. I didn't post myself when I was really, really sick though. Yeah. I didn't. There was no, didn't even know how to use a phone. But I was never once stated anything about an eating disorder until I think last year.
Yeah.
Because I still hated that diagnosis or that label of anorexia or whatever, because I just hated it. So it hasn't even been till last year that I've done that. Now I post it because that's what I do. Like, I love doing those photo shoots. They're different. It's art, you know, like it's not like I'm posting anything offensive. I don't see there's a problem with it. And if someone does, then there's this mad button you can press called unfollow.
Exactly.
Just saying. Yeah. And I think also with the confidence thing, it actually gives me more confidence to do it. In order to keep getting better is to just be posting that, because I'm like, if I hide and then one day I post a photo and it's like, oh my God, she's gained like 20 kilos, they would never say, oh my God, she's gained 20 kilos, but it would be like, you're looking great. And sometimes those comments can be really warped in your head.
Yeah.
And you can look at a comment and it can be like, you look healthy. For someone who's struggled with an eating disorder, that translates as you're a fat fuck. Don't know why, but it does. Anyone who you speak to who's had or has an eating disorder, got to be very, very careful about what you say. If they're looking better or something, it's better to comment and say something like, your eyes look really alive or something.
So just don't comment on the body, really.
Never comment on the body, because you don't know, even though your intention might be fine, you don't know how they're going to perceive it, or what someone said to them in the past that they might hold on to. And I think I've done a bit of modelling in the past. Even when I was quite underweight, that was sort of used to my advantage. Doing creature acting and stuff, so they put all the prosthetics on me, and it was a lot of fun. But now, so I've also sort of used that, and I think that I'm now showing my journey through myself, and this is just me. I've got no problem posting a pair of tits online. If you're offended, wow, guys can do it. Why can't girls?
It's your body.
Exactly. I'll put the emojis over it just for I'll meet you halfway kind of thing. But yeah, and I think it's I'm always about intention behind it. I get some DMs, the really sexual DMs, and I'm sitting there in my hoodie with my little frog eye mask on. It's 8 p.m. at night, just going, no, you don't know me. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
That's why it's a bit of fun, because that's also not who I am. I'm really an 85-year-old, mentally 85-year-old, goes to bed at 7 o'clock.
So would you say it gives you a sense of empowerment doing that?
In a way, empowerment, but also, I think I touched on this before, it was the common, basic human rights of, everyone else can post it, why couldn't I? Just because I had to deal with some shit going on in my life, just because I was sick mentally, physically, why am I not allowed to post a photo in a bikini just like somebody else can, just because I'm sick? You don't know. I may not have had an eating disorder, I might have had just purely medical condition that made me look that way, and... I remember actually getting yelled at on the street,
really?
Go fucking eat something. Genius, and that sort of fueled me to be no, fuck you, I'll post what I want, sort of thing. So that's where I sort of get that from, and it kind of spiraled, and then spiraled well, and then I started working with awesome photographers, and I was like, this is fun. So yeah, stress loss.
I've loved the comparison pictures from where you were to where you are now.
That took a lot of balls to do it.
It would have.
You send a risky text message and then you're like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. That was how I felt doing it.
You shooting yourself?
Time. Yeah, I literally threw my phone. I was like, sweet. But I think it was important. Those photos, those before photos were ones that I never really posted on my social media. And I think I just need to show, what I want to show people is, you can be dead and you can bring yourself back to life. It's possible.
Yep.
And with the captions that I post, I want it to be very this is real. This is so real. This is what it's like. This is what it is. Some days you feel good, some days you feel bad. And I think people are relating to the way that I'm talking about it, being so brutally honest with it.
Yeah, I was reading some of the comments and you got very good feedback from a lot of people.
It makes me emotional, actually, seeing people react that way to it and relate.
Yeah, it's an awesome feeling knowing that you can impact on someone's life.
And that's why I kept doing it. The first one I was like, let's just give this a go, I'll delete it in an hour. I got 1,200 things on it, and I saw how many people had saved the photo and stuff. It was 500 people had saved it or something, and it was that's actually impacting people. Yeah.
And you've only just started.
Yeah, and I'm like, what else can I do?
As I said before, this podcast is going to impact a lot of people, a lot of your listeners as well. You're doing good, and I once again thank you for coming out here, because I know it would take a lot of courage to talk about what you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely, but I think it feels good to kind of let it out.
Yeah. like a weight lifted off your shoulders.
Also, I think with the stigma and stuff, it's also embarrassing.
Yeah.
You kind of put this thing of like, it's embarrassing to have an eating disorder. It's embarrassing to, self-harm, have anxiety, because you just want to be normal. That's all you want is to be normal. That's why, like, right now, you're like, what in life? I'm like, mate, I've been through enough,
Yeah.
I've had enough journeys. Like, I just want to lead a normal life now. I just want to do the things that I never thought I'd be able to do. And that's just chill.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think, like, that's why I want to talk about this. It's like, it's not embarrassing. Everyone has their little problems. Everyone has their OCDs, their eating problems or habits, and yeah, it's not embarrassing. Like, even talking about self-harm, that was a mad one for me that I would never talk about. Like, I'd say, oh, my cat scratched you. Your cat did not do that. What, do you have a lion? Like, no. It's shit. It happens, but it's nothing to be ashamed of ever. And I think in the system, it was frowned upon, and it was a very taboo subject. Like, you have to hide it, you can't do it. Like, of course, it can be triggering, which I understand and respect, but it was more, you can't do that or you get into trouble. And that's something that I held on to for so long, why I wouldn't speak out if I was struggling, was I'll get into trouble. Thanks, system, you really left a really good thing for me.
What's your, on self-harm, do you cover your scars in that?
Why do you think I have so many tattoos?
Yeah?
Yeah. I did cover them. I covered them just because I wanted to turn something so dark into something beautiful.
Yep.
So cliche. So that's why I tattooed over them and things that I actually enjoy. You can never completely get rid of a scar, so I'm very aware that they're still there.
Yeah.
It's also a reminder of how far I've come. And I just think, like, there's nothing to be ashamed of anymore. I used to be so ashamed. It was summer, I'd be wearing sleeves, and I'm like, you know what? That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm not there anymore. It's fine.
Yep. You got some mean bloody tattoos, as I mentioned before.
Some of them are pretty shit because I tried to, like, cover them up, but, that's fine.
It's all right. Makes you who you are.
Some of the worst tattoos are the best, I feel.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Now, we spoke about you get up early. What's your morning routine?
It's bad. I wake up at, like, 3:30 sometimes. Like, I'm just the shittest sleeper, so I wake up, like, I try and get up at 4. Coffee and a smoke. Breakfast. Either go back to bed or go to the gym. Come home. Shower. Go to work.
It's normal.
Yeah. I don't have a mantras, write a list. Be healthy. Have a green smoothie. No fucking way. I'm not wasting my life.
Not for everyone.
No. Your morning routine's a very personal one.
Yeah.
And I think the morning's always my favourite time of day. No one's awake. It's quiet. It's peaceful. You have also waking up that early. If you're not feeling it, this is kind of really weird, but, like, if you're not feeling it that day, you have time to go back to sleep and start again.
Yeah.
If I'm like, fuck this day, I can go back to sleep for like an hour and wake up and be like, all right, let's do this again.
Haven't thought about it like that.
Do it. Go back to sleep and be like, all right, day 1.2.
What are your hobbies?
Art. I love doing art. Yep. I go through phases of painting and obsessively drawing. I'm trying to get back into it a little bit more. It's always been like, how has my mental state been? So if my mental state's been really good, I might paint. If it's been terrible, I might do some really weird work. But yeah, so I love doing art, painting. I love like working out. Love doing boxing, going to the gym. I've recently liked hanging out with my friends. What the fuck?
Who would have thought that?
Wow, yeah. But just being chill about it.
Yeah.
And being more spontaneous with it all has been great. Like, oh, what are you doing? Nothing. Do you want to go do something? Instead of like, oh my God, you've just asked me to do something which is not in my day routine today. Sorry. No. It's like, let's do it.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Also just having time to relax, which I used to not be able to just sit down or just watch something. I'd be like pacing my room, or it was always something that I had to be doing. Now just relaxing is really nice, and I've been working quite a bit, and I really like just being at work now because it's a normal job. So I like being normal.
And do you look up to anyone? Does anyone inspire you at all?
I don't know. I do kind of look up to people. Just people who are kind of doing what I do, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't really want to name names, I guess, but just, you know, people in my life definitely who have been through shit, and they've come through. Anyone who's got a story, definitely. Also just like my friends, my coaches, like just seeing what they've done with their life. It's inspiring for me to see people who have come from different journeys, and everyone's got a story. So yeah, I look up to a lot of people.
Surely you inspire yourself.
Nah, not yet. Not yet.
Not yet?
Not yet, nah. I fuel myself to get there, and I motivate myself, but I don't inspire myself at all. I don't think I could inspire myself because it's kind of like, I feel like I'd short circuit if I inspired myself, if that makes sense. I'd be like, oh yeah, cool, yeah, right, whatever, yeah. But I want to inspire other people. So it's a bit hard to inspire yourself, I feel. I don't know. Like I'm starting to be like proud of what I've done.
Yeah.
But inspirational to myself, kind of. I don't really see how that would work.
Okay.
I don't understand. Yeah, I don't think I could do that. Yeah.
And where do you see yourself in the next few years? Do you have goals?
No.
Just one day at a time?
Honestly, I hate a lot. Everyone's going to be like, nah, whatever. But I don't like the idea of goals.
Okay.
I like really short term sort of goals, like what am I going to achieve today, or maybe say like I think like a general goal is a good idea, but if I had set goals like 5 years ago for my 5-year plan, I wouldn't be here today.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to happen. Like if I set a goal, say I did set a goal 5 years ago, it'd be to be living in America. Look at America right now.
Yep. Crazy place.
If I had been that type of person that had set my goals and stuck to them, I'd be like, cool, I just shot myself in the face because I stuck to my goals, but I hate my life.
Yep.
Like you need to be open to having curveballs thrown at your life, being able to have a lot of movement in your life. And I think that even in saying that can be a goal, to be more open with something or to be more spontaneous. You know, there are a few things like, I'd like to maybe go travel again and stuff, but I don't feel like that's really a goal. I just think that you always need to be looking forward. And that's just a general, not necessarily a goal, but yeah. I also find that if I try and write down something that I have to go and do, I'm not going to do it. Like I put things off. That was also the thing of like, oh, I'm not going to drink next week or something like that. And it's like, well, I've ended up drinking every day because of I've gone out for dinner or I've like gone and done that. And it's like, I don't want a goal to be like putting a lid on my life.
Yeah.
That is a very personal way of looking at goals, because I know for a lot of people goals are awesome and inspirational. It's something for them to work towards. I just personally don't find it works for me. Yeah.
I guess it's what works for you.
Yeah,
like
definitely.
Some people do set goals and then they stress themselves out about it when they don't reach it, and it's
just be like a headless chicken if you do it. Yeah, and that's again the thing of like, I used to have like a group that was goal setting, and I was like, fuck this, and like threw my book away and like get out of group, and I was like, I wanted to go anyway, that kind of thing. But that's what I mean. It's so personal and so individual. One day I might be like, okay, that's my goal, is to get to that. But I also find that my goals I'm a bit scarred by. My goals were to get to X amount of weight, or to go for X amount of time without food, or to run for X amount of time, which can get quite obsessive for me. So I feel like goals are maybe not the best thing if you've got a very obsessive mindset as well. It's just something to sort of think about if you're setting a goal. Is like, why am I doing this? Is it going to help me, or is it going to stress me out? Am I going to be hurting myself to get to this goal? And if I don't achieve it, am I going to just hate myself for it?
So I set goals myself, but I understand life does throw curveballs. Yeah. And I have been on the end where I have stressed myself out about goals. So it's just about finding that balance, having an idea of where you want to go, but understanding it's not going to be a straight path. Yeah,
you always need something to be working towards. Yeah. And I think even if that's just like, let's just keep living and going up, and even if your goal is let's not go backwards, that's a bloody good goal. I think that's my goal. Don't go backwards. And that even, you can think, oh, that's a pretty general rule. But if you're going through something like, I'm going to try and hit all these meals today, or I'm going to try and not do X, Y, and Z, if you're in that position where you're like, I want to skip this meal, be like, my goal is to not step backwards, so I'm going to eat that. So it's all about like how you think about things. Yeah.
Yeah. As long as you're in a better position in 12 months' time than where you are now, that's all that matters.
That's all we want. Onward and upward.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned, I guess, happiness is the key to life. Would you say that's your definition of success, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is. And I think just with everything that's going on in the world right now, it's really showed me that you can lose anything in a minute. But if you're happy, you'll get through and you'll find ways to get those things back. I also think that going through shit, you see that what's important in your life, and it's really about your values, and you realise that happiness is honestly the only thing that you can hold on to. And I think I have strived for so long and gone through so much to get there. I'm not going to let it go now. I'm not going to let it go. And so I'm very much like I would rather throw away something else in order to keep myself okay, because I also know how far I can go down and how much I can destroy myself.
You don't want to fucking go there again.
I'm not going there again. If I go there again, see you later. I'm out.
Now, you don't think too far ahead, but when your time's up on this earth, I guess what would you like to be remembered for?
Making it.
Yeah.
Surviving. Due to all the odds, like, that I wasn't supposed to. Like, she made it, and also for my art, like, the